and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about canner care. I've been wanting to do this video forever and it's repetition with me, and so I'll do what I normally do and then I'm like, oh crap, I didn't turn on the camera. So today I made sure to turn on the camera because I haven't gotten to use this beautiful piece of equipment for a few weeks now because I was waiting for a piece. I have it, husband put it on, so now we are ready to go, and I wanted to show you how to get the canner ready and the proper way to use it since I am going to be canning something, so it's perfect timing. And I do have a Presto canner, so if you would like to see the process with the Presto canner, I can bring that out and do that for you as well, no problem at all. But let's get started on the All-American canner. So, first thing to note is your water, well, you want to make sure it's clean. And I clean this after every time I can. Not say I'm doing multiple batches of the same thing, then I'll just check the water level. But when I'm done canning for the day, I wash it with soap and water and then dry it and store it away. But with the All-American, and this is per the instructions, you want 2 to 3 inches of water down below, and that is so you can vent it properly, it can go for full cooking time, and you not have to worry about losing any water. Well, you'll lose water, but you don't want the water to go away. If you run this canner dry, you will ruin the canner, and that is $280 that you just threw down the drain, because you will not be able to pressure can with it again if you run out of water. So I reiterate, make sure you have the proper water amount. I mean, it is different for different canners. This is the All-American. Alright, the second thing to note with the All-American is it is a dual. So you have, and this is, ignore that this is facing this way instead of forward. This is the replacement part. And I had my husband put it on because I wanted to make sure it was really tight. And he, when he tightened it all the way, it tightened to the side, which I don't mind. But yeah, so this is my dial gauge. But you have that, and then over here you have your vent, and you have the weighted gauge. Now this has a 5, 10, and 15 pound, and you just do it according to the pound that you need. And then back here we have our little gasket. This is for if the pressure gets too high, this will pop off, and then it'll release that pressure quickly so that your canner doesn't explode. But be warned, if that goes off, you are 9 times out of 10, probably 10 times out of 10, excuse me, you're going to lose everything that's in your canner because it'll come off of pressure way too fast. So you do not want that to happen, which is why it's nice to have this. You'll be able to monitor your pressure, but you want to go by the weighted gauge. So when this is jiggling, that's when you're up to pressure. Not necessarily when this says you're up to pressure. You go by this. Even though it has both, this is for the purpose of just estimating type deal and to monitor, but you're actually going by whether this is jiggling or not and watching your weighted side. I know that's confusing, but that is per the instructions for the All-American. And then real quick, why I changed this and why, another reason why this is nice is this actually became, it started reading wrong. So it would actually, I wouldn't be up to pressure until this was almost at 15 pounds of pressure. When it was at 10 pounds of pressure, my weight was not jiggling. It wouldn't be until about right here that it would start jiggling. And that's what I like about these, is you can actually test to see if you're reading true, because when that jiggles, you're at the pressure you set it at. So if this isn't reading right, it's because this is wrong. And you can always go to an extension office if you have one that has a checker, but since this is dual and since we go by the weight and not the dial, like some canners, I just checked it that way. I knew I needed to change it. It was a $20 piece. I could have technically not changed it, but I'd rather have a piece that worked. And since this is a lifetime investment, I was okay with spending the $20 to change it. So, next thing on the list. So, you want to make sure that all your stuff's working right. You have the right amount of liquid in your canner. And then, those went for 2 minutes. Sorry. So then the next thing you want to look at is your vent. So that would be that hole right there. You want to be able to see sunlight through this. Now when you're using your canner a lot, you'll get buildup. Just blow through the hole and it'll come out. But you want to be able to look through that hole on the other side and see daylight out of this tiny hole here. Alright? You want to make sure you do that so you get proper venting when you're canning. So that's the next step that I do. Then, and some people use oil. I like to use this. It does not leave residue or anything else. But this is a metal to metal seal. So there is no gasket like the Presto canner. And you want to make sure that you have a lubricated all the way around, because otherwise you can actually seal your canner and then you won't be able to open it. So I just take some of the jelly and I go all around, make sure everything's covered, and then I just go around a couple times. And then I'll do the same thing to under here. This is where it's going to seal. So I do the same thing all the way around here and make sure everything is in tip-top shape and lubricated. And now I'll show you how we actually use it to can. Okay, so once you have all of your items that you're going to be putting in your canner in there, whether you're just doing a single layer or you're doing a double layer, because this can hold, it can stack pints. You then want to put on your canner. You've already checked everything, you're ready to go. So here we have a notch and we have an arrow. And then you have a hook here, and where's my other hook? You have a hook right here. So these are going to help lock it, plus you have your wing nuts. So you put your lid on, and then lock it. So locked, we're level, or even, not level. So then the next thing you want to do is make sure that this space is even all the way around your canner before you lock anything else down. So I just go around, make sure everything is even. Certain people have tips and tricks, but I just go around like this to make sure everything is good to go. And then you take the opposite wing nut, and I'm doing this one-handed, so it's, think of me doing it with both hands. But you do opposite wing nuts like that, and you'll take it down, but not tight yet. So you do those, and then you do this one, and it's opposite, this one, and it's opposite. Then, after they're all semi-tight, you make sure everything is equal, and then you tighten them down again, opposites, opposites, opposites. And that's just, again, to make sure that the lid is on there correctly. Then you will let it vent. I let mine American, you only have to do it for 7 minutes. However, with the Presto, you have to do it for 10. So I always do it for 10 with this too, just to keep everything together. So you let it vent, and then once it vents for the correct time, you put your weight on, you wait for it to come up to pressure. Once it starts jiggling, that's when you start your timer for the amount of time that you need to can whatever you're canning. So I hope that you enjoyed this little informational video, and I can't wait to see you for another canning session. Thanks for watching.